Part A wants the inverse function of f of x, so what we're going to do is let y equal 3 minus 2x over x minus 5, and then swap the x's and the y's around, so x equals 3 minus 2y over y minus 5, and we need to rearrange this to make y the subject. So multiply through by the denominator, so xy minus 5x is equal to 3 minus 2y. We want the y terms on one side, so xy plus 2y is going to equal 5x plus 3. Take y out as a common factor, y into x plus 2 is equal to 5x plus 3, and then finally divide through by the brackets, so 5x plus 3 divided by x plus 2. So therefore the inverse function f to the minus 1 of x is equal to 5x plus 3 divided by x plus 2. Part B wants the range of the g of x function, so this function goes down to minus 9 and goes up to 4 on the y-axis, so minus 9 less than or equal to y less than or equal to 4 would be the range of the function. Part C wants us to find g of 2, so let's start by doing g of 2. Well, from the graph g of 2 is equal to 0, so then we need to do g of 0, and again from the graph g of 0 is equal to minus 6. Part D wants f of g of 8. Well, g of 8 again from the graph is equal to 4, so then we want f of 4, and f of 4 is equal to 3 minus 2 lots of 4 over 4 minus 5, and if you work this out the answer comes out to be 5. So E part 1 wants the graph of the modulus of g of x. So this part stays as it was because it's above the x-axis, but the bit that was below the x-axis gets reflected up into this line. Now this point met the x-axis at 2 and that hasn't changed. The original graph crossed the x-axis at minus 6, so it now crosses the y-axis at plus 6. Part 2 then wants you to sketch the inverse function of g of x. So if this is my original function here, you need to remember that the inverse function is a reflection in the line y equals x. So if this point here on the x-axis was at 2, this point on the y-axis is now at 2. This crossed the y-axis at minus 6, the original graph, so the new graph crosses the x-axis at minus 6. And then the final part, once the domain of the inverse function, well, you need to remember that this is the range of the original function, and the range of the original function we did in part B, and that was minus 9 to 4. So in this case we've got minus 9 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 4, and x this time because we're talking about a domain rather than a range.